topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Well, good evening, good evening, and good evening. Welcome to another awesome, fabulous opportunity of conversation, information, and all that good stuff. I pray that everybody is well. I'm going to welcome my co-host, and we have a guest, just in case you didn't notice. Trey, how you doing all the way from Virginia?
I am doing wonderful. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing great.
There we go. Okay. Got to find my camera. And Pastor Miguel, how are you? And how is it over on the coast over there?
It's starting to heat up. The oven has officially kicked on, so we're going to be seeing some warm weather till October, November. So,
gotcha.
Getting ready.
This is Florida. Leave my state weather alone. Leave it alone. I don't know what we're going to expect. But before we go any further, let's pray. Father God, we just thank you. We praise you. We give you glory, for you alone are worthy to be praised. We thank you for today. We thank you for tonight. We just thank you for everything that you've done for us. We thank you for protecting us, allowing us to go from point A to point B and return back to point A. We thank you for allowing us to get the things to do list done. We just thank you for everything. And we ask, Father God, that you just have your way tonight. This is your show. We're just your people. We get behind the cross. You have your way and do what you do best. One of those is setting your captives free. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Well, I'm glad everybody, is here. This is April 1st. This is it. What you didn't get done last month, it's over. It's over. It would be nice, but I hope you just, crossed it over. Spreading it over to, this month. And you got shorter months, shorter weeks this month. So hopefully you get her done and set your mind to it. Stay focused. Well, anyway, I got to have my guest talk tonight. I am just so, you never know when you have job experience and the things that you've gone through. You're just thinking sometimes, you're just getting a job. And you're able, 14 years old, this is back in the day, so I'm dating myself. At age 14, back in my hometown of Palm Beach County, I got a job as a page working at the community library. Changed my life because everybody was adults, except for me. I was a teenager. And then to go on from there, I'm in college at Palm Beach Atlantic College, back home. And I got my work study job, and guess where it was? The library. Yes. And I'm telling you, again, changing my life until both libraries decided one summer to do the okie doke on me. The college library operated through the Library of Congress. The community library operated through the Dewey Decimal System. Now, I know I'm dating everybody, so if y'all nodding your heads, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, most our audience out there, they're kind of young, so they probably, Dewey, who was that? Not Dewey in the news, or whatever that band was called. No,
the original Google.
Okay.
The original Google.
So then, one summer, they did the okie doke, like I said, Both decided to do inventory in a week, the same week. So I'm Dewey Decimal by morning, and in the afternoon, I was Library of Congress, or either vice versa. I was Library of Congress in the morning, Dewey Decimal in the afternoon. My brain was nothing but noodles by that weekend. You couldn't, don't ask me anything. Don't ask me anything. I'll be a little like, what? All I saw was numbers and alphabet, numbers and alphabet. So our guests would know exactly what I'm talking about. I want you all to give a warm welcome to this young lady, Miss Jen Schock, who's the development manager of our local library here in Orange County.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, everybody. I'm really looking forward to telling you a little bit about the Orange County Library System.
Yes, go for it. You're on, and I'm going to mute myself. And I want you to highlight the traditional things that you all do.
Sure.
And also mainly highlight the non-traditional things you do.
Sure. So I'll get started probably with the traditional things. I think most people expect books and sometimes movies or music to be able to borrow for free from the library. And of course, we have that. We have a really extensive collection of over 1.7 million items that you can borrow. A lot of those are digital, so ebooks, audiobooks, songs you can download, but also a very extensive physical collection as well. So I think that's what most people expect. We do story times at all of our locations. There are 15 library locations in Orange County through the Orange County Library System. And, I used to work in youth services when I started here. So I love story times, and there's all the kids events that we do, but then we also, sort of veering into the non-traditional now, we have a lot of things that I think might surprise folks if they haven't visited their library for a little bit. For adults, we have recording studios at the downtown Orlando library that you can borrow for free. We have driving simulators where you can practice driving safely behind a screen before you get on the road. We have a fiber art studio where you can learn how to knit, crochet, sew, use a sewing machine. We have so many fantastic resources like a citizenship course. So for folks who are new to the area and are trying to take the U.S. citizenship test, we have an entire course on that. And I love when people pass their exam and they become U.S. citizens and then they come back and tell us about it. I love that. We have a lot of English language classes for people who are also potentially new to the area and are trying to spruce up on their English skills. And we also have a program that I run called the Local Wanderer Program. And just with your library card, you can check out like free tickets to the zoo, to all the different museums in the area. You can get free tickets to concerts with the Orlando Philharmonic, tickets to the ballet. So those are just a few. I mean, I could go on, but those are just some of the resources in a nutshell.
So how did y'all morphosize into this? I mean, you're supposed to be just doing books and checking them out. I mean, I know we're no longer near the floppy disk and all that kind of stuff. Everything is digital. How did y'all decide how did that turn into that? This is amazing. I can go get free tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some of the history of that is before I was here. But, over the years, I think the essence of the public library system, whether it's ours here or just anywhere in the US, is really to be a very trusted community institution with resources. And the thing that I love about working at the library and in promoting the library is that it really is a place that is, equal standing for everybody, no matter who you are, where you're coming from, what you're interested in. We will have something for you. You are welcome here, and we will do our best to get you the resources or entertainment or classes that you need. And again, every single person has access to that equally. So as our community has changed over the decades, our services have adapted with that. And we try to really keep our finger on the pulse of what the community needs. So back in, we just celebrated our 100th anniversary as a library system. So I've been going through the history this past year a lot. And I mean, going through and seeing when they first set up computers, and they had the very first public computer lab where people could come do that. And there's a lot of people today who maybe don't even have internet access at home. And so we have Wi-Fi hotspots that they can check out. So just as the technology changes, as the needs of the community change, we're trying to stay in step with that and make sure we're offering what's needed at the time.
I am amazed. And I want to go back down a little history now, how I met Jen, if you don't mind me calling you Jen.
Fine. Yeah.
The Friends of the Library, which is like their advisory board of volunteers, I believe, was saying, looking for donations, and they had a pin that they would give you if you made a donation. And so, of course, I say, you know what? And the Lord whispered to me, he said, go ahead and make a donation. And I'm like, and let me tell you something. God will have you do things that you don't know. You may think you know the reason for doing them, but you just really don't know the reason. And there's other reasons on top of that. So long story short, for some reason, my pens I never received them in the mail. I went through Brett, who's another associate team leader, member with Jen, on Facebook. I messaged him and said, okay, first I called the library and said, I need to talk to somebody on the Friends committee. And they're like, no, we can leave a message. And I'm like, okay, secret. Okay, no problem. We don't need to know who they are. That's fine, And sure enough, Brett reached out to me. He said, we're sorry about that. I'll get one out to you. Let's check the address, blah, blah, blah. And then Jen is segue into Jen, coming on and saying, okay, we'll get this out to you. And they sent the second batch or a second set of a second gift. And I never received it. And so I finally said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to ask for my money back. I'm good. I'm still going to use the library, still going to refer people down there. I have nothing, there's nothing negative. And Jen calls me back. She says, no, let's give me another address, whatever. Or, I said, you know what? The library is not too far. I'll come down there. And she's like, no. We give me another address. I said, well, see, she was so kind. I did not know at the time that we were hosting the tryouts for the Summer Olympics here, and everything was downtown. They were setting up that Wednesday, Thursday for the tryouts that's going to be held into the weekend. They were cutting up the roads and everything, I've never seen City of Orlando put a road, a whole building and a whole event together. I've not really watched that, but in that day I did. And I'm like, and it was a day of, I made it to the library. I hadn't been there for a while. Both Jen and Brett were waiting on me. They greeted me. They took me into their gift shop area, and we just talking away. And I'm like, wow. And then they had a little gift bag for me, and I probably won't be able to hold these up effectively, but just to see some of the trinkets that you got, and I've got a few more. They kind of loaded me with them and pens. Oh, this is a cute one here. This is cute. I got carded. And I'm telling you, and then we got to talking, and I noticed this rolling cart that I should be familiar with because at 14 I used to use those to put the books back. And I'm like, oh, and it says 10 cents. I said, oh, I could clear that out because I work with a village in Ghana, my nonprofit. I need to come back and get the books. They're like, oh, no, let us know what you need. We got you. And I'm like, huh? I said, and then Jen said something. Being the social worker that I am, the community advocate that I am, she says, yeah, we have a social worker here. I said, where? What? A social worker? Okay, now she's really trying to get some brownie points here. It's okay. I got a gift bag. I got a pen. I'm good. I'll come back. I'll course correct on Facebook. She goes, no, we do. So Jen, we're going to segue back to you on that. How and where? Because the homeless used to congregate down there over 5 years ago, because it's been 5 years since I've gone through what I've gone through. And I remember because I used to perform at the History Center, which is right next door.
Yeah.
And so, Jen, take it away.
Yeah. And I mean, we are still, anyone, like I said, is welcome in our doors. And so we see a variety of guests every single day. I wanted to share this statistic with you because I'm finishing up our annual report from last year. And I thought, oh, you'll love this statistic. So last year, we have a team of 3 social workers. And last year, they assisted 4,471 people, the 3 of them. And what they're able to do is they're able to help anybody who needs like a referral, whether it's for, government assistance, legal immigration recommendations, SNAP benefits, things like that. And what I can also do is I can send you the link to our social worker webpage after this, in case your listeners want to see that. You can put it on your webpage, and it has our different locations, and people are able to walk in and do that. But then we do recommend making an appointment as well if they can. And that's something that our team can assist with if you give us a call or whatever, because we know that, folks may not be able to make an appointment without having a computer themselves or access to that. So that's just one thing. And when I saw that statistic doing our annual report, I just thought it was really amazing that we're able to offer that much. And another service that we have is something called the right service at the right time. And it is a computer station that helps referrals to housing assistance, government benefits, like I said, immigration, legal aid, things like that. And so it's really user friendly, and it can help point people in the right directions. And if there are any nonprofits in the area that want to register as a referral, like something that they can refer people to, they can contact as well, and we can add them to the list. So we have as many resources as we possibly can, whether it's computer classes or social work assistance. Like I said, we try to be as much as we can for as many different needs as we
can. I don't know about the libraries outside of my county. I don't know if you could top this. I have to say hats off, because I mean, when I lived in Palm Beach County, anytime anybody talked about Orlando, of course, they equated it with Disney World. Disney World, FYI, is in Kissimmee, the next city over, just a minute over. I mean, you could just step and you're in Kissimmee. It's okay, but it's not in Orlando. So I came here 22 years ago looking for services, because a year after I moved here, was married and moved here, I was pregnant with my twins. So back home, all you have to do is pick up the Safety Council phone number to see if you can get at least one car seat. I was directed to the sheriff department. And I'm like, this is Orlando. But Orlando is made up of other things. You all just really brought it full circle now, because you're doing the community, what we would call a community resource center. That's what you are. That's what I learned when I was working at Children's Services Council back home, which is where I learned how to write grants.
We do have grant service. So we actually, just this past weekend, we had a class for people who want to learn how to write grants and work with foundations. We just had a class about that this past weekend for people. And at the same time that was going on, we were having an artist expo so that people could learn how to connect with other resources in the community to try to make art their full-time careers, because we know it's really hard if you don't have support and you don't have connections. And so, we have a wide variety of different things. And I wanted to share too that it's National Library Week next week. And so we have a lot of fun activities going on. But one that's really, really cool is that if you don't have your library card right now, or your card's expired, if you renew it during National Library Week in person, so you have to come in person to any of our locations to do this. But if you come in, we'll give you 2 tickets for free admission to Wonderworks. So that's stuff that, families and, friends can do together. And it is while supplies last, and it is a very popular promotion. But next week, I think I have the dates. It is April 7th through 13th. And that's just a celebration and a partnership we do with them just to, make it fun. A lot of people say, oh, libraries are kind of out of date or they're kind of becoming obsolete. And we really find that's not true. And people just say that because they don't see people reading physical books as much, I think, because there's so many other ways to take in information. But our classes are really full and our programs are well attended because people need stuff to do with their families. And it should be a third space where, you have your work, you have your office or your home, and then where else can you go to get enrichment and to, increase your quality of life. So this is a place where you can do that.
Well, I'm telling you, this is right on time. And again, I forgot to mention, but yes, this is National Library Workers Week in a month. As far as I'm concerned, we should just make it a month. But I'm so glad that everything is all about God's timing. She was available tonight. I said, better way to kick it off? Let's do this. Let's make people aware. And let's show that the library is cool. The library, I'm sure libraries probably around the world have testaments to unordinary things. Once again, I'm 15 years old, I think, at this time. And I was adopted at birth, as all of you all know. And my biological mother calls the house and she says, well, you have 2 brothers and a sister. And I'm going to tell them tonight about it. And I'm like, so that was one night. I didn't think nothing about it. We're getting ready to close at 8:30. So I'm organizing the cards back in the day, putting everything back. I already put the books up. And all of a sudden, this young man comes in, and I knew him as James. And he came in the door, and I said, James, I said, how you doing? I said, we're getting ready to close. And I didn't look up at him. I was still trying to do this. He says, you're my sister. And he runs out of the library. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. But I ended up teaching him and a lot of the kids in the neighborhood how to use the library, the importance of having a library card and all that. To this day, my brother, who's my good friend, he's a good friend. And I said, oh, by the way, you're my brother too. We remember that, but we don't know how long it was before we reconnected because he stormed out. And this is at night. He walked across 2 busy highways and a railroad track to get to the library. He walked. And I don't know how I looked just like our mother. So I don't know how he never put that together. Like maybe just to say, God, you look like my aunt and you look like my mom, but that just blew it all away. But we're cool now. But so God, 4,471. That's what social workers do.
Just three people. We had 3 library workers, and between the 3 of them, they helped that many people. So,
well, they love what they do because as I'm sure other professions, but I can only speak to a few, mainly of social work. We're different people. We love people. We may have our specialty. We may deal with the elderly more. We prefer kids or babies, but we do what we do. And we find the resources. And then I know back in my day, we could create resources. We don't have that anymore. But at least right now, you're the library, Jen. Mm-hmm. You're the public library downtown.
That's where I work. Yeah.
Street, got 4 lanes, but one way.
Yes.
A huge garage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I hats off to you all because when like I said, I was stunned when you were telling me this. I'm like, social work, a social work department here. I'm like where? I mean, it's huge. It's almost looks like a building, a museum itself, but you can find your way. You can access. I'm going to the library. I love going to the library. Thank you, Misty. I always took my kids when they were little. So many programs. Yes. Well, that has doubled now. That's tripled now. And then you could go in. I mean, I used to remember, folks who from out of town who were visiting Palm Beach. They would come to the library, grab a travels book. I know people who were getting ready to travel. It was this whole system, one brand, one publisher publishing Italy, Spain, all those books. And people would check them out all the time and learn everything they could learn about where they needed to go. It was amazing. And the library, I used to sit and I would grab the reference books, the quotation book. And I would sit there at the desk and I would read quotations. And many of my quotations that I still know today came from this reference book that I couldn't check out. And nobody bothered me, but I was sitting because I did my work. I helped everybody. I made sure that the front desk was clean and clear. I answered the phone and everything. And my life just changed. My life changed. And I won't take nothing back from that. Working in the library. I'm telling you. Guys, come on, co-host. If you have questions or you want to give her a high five in the air there, whatever, I'm going to get quiet because, I'm a social worker and we can out-talk anybody, literally.
I believe it because that's my wife also. So, but what I have to say, Jen, is that I applaud you because one thing that I've learned in my studies in these last 4 years, and I'm still going to school, is the value of libraries, and it's not what it used to be. Now it's really metamorphosized into things that you really, if you're looking for something, the best person to talk to is one of the staff at the libraries, and you won't realize the plethora of knowledge that they have. And you just give them one topic and then they'll give you databases, books, and all of these accessible tools so you can be able to get your information. And when you said 4,400 people in 3 social workers, that's under 1,500 people per social worker. That's a lot of people. And hats off to them that they're able to help that many people with such a small staff. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. I feel awkward, like accepting the thanks, but on their behalf, because I'm not the social worker, but they're part of our community engagement department, and they do such fantastic work. Our community engagement department is relatively new. We've had our social workers for a little while, but we've been able to sort of get our priorities to being like where people are right now. And so that's sort of a campaign that we're running, is meet you there. And so we know not everybody's going to come to us. They're not going to be able to they won't be able to get to our buildings, or they don't want to come into our buildings for whatever reason. And that's fine. We'll go to where they are. We'll meet them there. And so we have the social workers who go around. We have an outreach social worker specifically for outreach related work. And we have our new book bike. So one thing that I love is that we've been able to take our book bike, which has tons of books in it that people can check out. And it can also, right there on the spot, whether you're in the park or at a senior center, you can just sign somebody up for their library card right there. And we'll take those books to senior centers, or today it was at Lou Gardens. And so families at the gardens were able to just, check out books or sign up for their library card unexpectedly, because we're going to where they are. And so, yeah, it's, Pastor Miguel, like you said, it's an amazing number, and service is really at the heart of everything the library does. It is service to the public. And that's something, like I mentioned, we've celebrated 100 years just this past November. And that's one thing that has stayed the same is, the buildings look different, the resources are a little different, but it's always about service and making sure that we're meeting needs as they arise, and with whatever we can get. And we can talk for a long time about everything that we have available.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that's one of the social workers' creed, meeting the client where they're at. That's our creed. That's our motto. And again, and Trey, I want you to come on in, but I wanted to share, when I first moved here, got married, moved here, first thing I went looking for was the library, because I was not pregnant at the time. I had my older son. And so first thing you do is sign up get your library card. Okay, you're not normal if you don't do that. If you move to a new city, And my husband was an over-the-road truck driver, so he wasn't really into it. He don't like to read books, I was like, okay, you don't go get one, but me and my son will. And I got to know, I was going to the Holden location off of Holden, and an OBT, and got to know all the librarians in there. and we would laugh and joke about things and just have fun. And then the twins came along, but I think yeah, it was after. And I went in, and one of the librarians said, "You know what? You are so funny. It's She goes, "I've got a friend that works at the History Center." I said, "You have a History Center?" She goes, "Yeah, and he's looking for someone to portray Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune of Bethune-Cookman College." I said, "No way." And that was always my dream as a little girl, to return to the stage one day, to be honest with you. So I just read these two articles about Will Smith and Jim Carrey, and they were basically, if they accepted a script and a role, they would show up on the campus there, on the set, already dressed. When Will did Jim West of the Wild Wild West, he came and he found the outfit, and he walked in with that. Ace Ventura, those are Jim Carrey's clothes. Nobody had to help him. And to mousse up his hair, he did that and walked on set. So I was like, okay, I called the young man, Mr. White at the History Center. I told him who referred me. And he said, well, you're going to do a cold read for her. And I said, okay. And I was still like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. So I found a dress. It was a wool suit, just buttoned down here. So it looks like it was from the 30s and 40s. She liked to wear a hat. She never wore makeup. She wore pearls because President Roosevelt's mother and her became good friends. So she would go visit her, and she would always give Dr. McLeod a gift, and would always be pearls. So I found pearls and everything, and I went in and I did a cold read, and it led to a 15-year stint. I just retired officially last year. 15 years of not only portraying Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, but Bessie Coleman, and also Marianne Carroll of The Highwaymen. And I from the librarian who I just struck a conversation with, who knew me, and the twins came along. They had to go there. I had to get their cards as soon as they could walk. So it's things. I used to hear people talk about getting, reading the books, and they take them to, a land beyond their home, and reading, and you get all into it and stuff. And that's what libraries were known for. Now you all are the community engager. You're the community advocate now. You're the community resource center. And normally it takes about 5 years to get a community to change their mindset and to embrace that type of effort. We did that back home. And we had to tell them it would take about 5 years for people to really get used to us. You did it. You've done it. And I'm amazed. Trey, come on in now.
Oh, what can I add to that? I mean, this is awesome. I mean, from the human services field and the mental health field and the social work field and all those fields together. This is just it's amazing. It's really making me miss Florida more. Mm-mm-mm. But anyhow, I think it was great. And Jen, I think you were talking about, it was great that the library offers it, allowing the services to come in. So, kudos to you and the library team to be able to do that. And I've noticed different libraries that I've gone in, it's changed, it's a little relaxed, it's a different atmosphere. You see young, old, all types of people in there utilizing to the library to get whatever resources. Sometimes it's just a place just to say, whew, you know, in a relaxing atmosphere. I've done that before, in between clients, just, and I've taken clients, we've utilized that as a relaxation technique, finding books on coping skills, finding books on interest. And so the library has a plethora of things that people can do. And I'm just, hats off to the library down there and the social workers and just really helping people because people are going through things, and it doesn't matter, the person that people are going through things and they're struggling and trying to make ends meet. And so to be able to have services where people can go in or come out and meet them where they are, that's just so important. And I agree with Ms. Gray as far as like going out, doing something differently and meeting people where they are. That's my thing. I like that. And so I don't even know what else I could say to that, but thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Something you just mentioned was, how hard it is for people to make ends meet right now. And just today, I got probably my favorite email potentially I've ever gotten in the 6 years that I've worked here. So I mentioned the local Wanderer program, where you can get free tickets to like the zoo and theaters and museums and stuff. And we got this beautiful email from someone who said it's been a really difficult season in their life. They're unemployed and, they're trying to do a lot, and that the ability to get free passes to enriching places just to be social and just to feel still part of the world and not isolated, and that there's still enjoyment for them, and what a boost that was in their life. And it just is like, yeah, this is why we work here. This is why we do this. And, as simple as like a ticket to a museum or a ticket to a concert might be, it was a lifeline for somebody. And, seeing that email and just, we don't expect thank yous by any means, but it's so easy to get in your routine of this is my 9 to 5, this is what I'm doing, this is my work. And then just every now and then having something come in and interrupt and be able to just remind us of the human, at the heart of the services that we're providing. And so it's really wonderful. Another thing, I have all these like things popping into my head of what we offer that might surprise people. We've recently started our library of things, which is really cool. And so what that is you can actually borrow like crochet kits. And if you don't want to come to our fiber arts studio, we can send them to your home, and you can take home crochet like supplies and knitting as well. So if somebody wants to learn how to knit, or they just want to do a knitting project, we also have ones with like ergonomic needles. So if somebody needs like an adjusted kind, we can provide those too. Another thing that we have is heart and blood pressure monitors right now for people who might need one. We worked with the American Heart Association, and we have those that people can borrow for a little bit of time if they need to keep an eye on something at home, because those are not easy to procure, and you can't always go to Publix and test your blood pressure or whatever. So having it at home is something that's really, really important. And then for families who are trying to provide interesting activities for their kids, it doesn't have to be kids, I guess anybody could really do this, but they have something called citizen science kits, where it gives you little experiments that you can do at home. And some of the things are like the migratory bees in Florida, and like there's like a certain type of bee that's only in Florida that I learned about not too long ago. And you can do this experiment, and then your results can be like added to the greater body of research that's being collected on this. And so talk about a way of like giving somebody the chance to engage with something, just at a layman's level. Like, I'm not a scientist, but I can go home and learn a little bit about this, and with some friends or with kids, I can do this stuff. So it's called the Library of Things, and there's a lot that's available. You can check it out on our webpage. But it's just all so much more than books, and it's something to really enrich people's lives.
Well, like I said, you all have become a community resource center, and another factor or characteristic of a true community resource center is that it reflects, it depicts, it portrays the community in which the building sits. It's and you've got all age groups. I saw grandparents last week because we had spring break here. And you could tell the grandparents some of them had to fly in to come and help babysit because the parents had to go work, so they actually flew in for the week to be the grandparents. And McDonald's was full, it was just full. But I'm just sitting here and listening to all of this. You're the true community resource center.
I think sometimes people still have that old stereotype in their head. And Trey, this was something you mentioned too, that it's not just like a shushing zone anymore. It's more casual. I think there's been a stereotype of like austerity with like institutions and libraries, and all of that. And it's, the school marm with the tight bun and, gonna smack you with a ruler or whatever. And it's not that at all. Like we're here to help you find the books and the movies that you want. And, we're here for grandparents to have their kids running around if they need a break. Like I said, I used to work in youth services, and it is not quiet, and it's not meant to be. We don't expect little kids and little babies to just see all these cool things and then just silently read at 2 or 3 years old. So it's impossible. So we are trying to really, if people are able to come to us, that we're welcoming, that we're casual, that we're helpful. And if those stereotypes still hold and they still don't want to come in, that's fine. We'll go to where they are. We're getting a bookmobile soon, probably like another year or so out, because it takes a lot to build those. They have a lot of moving parts involved. But we have 2 book bikes, and then in the next year or so, we're excited to get our bookmobile on the road and to be able to do programs and all sorts of stuff out on the streets in the neighborhoods, and just to be with people.
Well, please keep me posted on that. I would love to contribute, for that. I definitely would. 2 more things I'm popping up in my head. Sure. I went to Catholic school starting in the 5th grade through 12th grade. I went to Palm Beach Atlantic as a Southern Baptist college, and then I went to Barry University to get my master's. I was in a 3-year program. 2 years was in Palm Beach, and the final year we had to go down, commute 1 day a week or twice a week to finish up the last year. And when I was at my high school, Cardinal Newman, Sister Claire, she was the French teacher, whole habit and everything. And she scared me one day, and we're changing classes. She goes, "How are you, Leisha?" And I'm like, Sister Claire knows my name. Oh my God. Well, Sister Claire dressed a little differently. She wore the traditional habit. It was all white, Franciscan nuns, all white. I kid you not. I'm at Barry University. I graduated in the 80s from high school. Went to college for 5 years, then went to graduate school. Okay, so here it is. I'm sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, trying to get some books. And what do I see walking on the other aisle were these beige stockings and this off-white dress. And I said, it can't be. I got up and I waited for her to come up. I said, Sister Claire. And I'm so crazy. You're still alive. And she goes, Leisha. And she had these bumblebee type glasses. She says, Leisha, you're just always so funny. Sister Claire, I never took any of your classes. She says, I know, but I know I followed you. You led the all-girls choir to state 2 years in a row. And you did this, and you were a great actress. So what are you doing here today? And I said, I'm getting my master's in social work. She goes, oh, good for you. And she put her arms folded again and walked off. I stood there like, I don't believe this. I just saw Sister Claire. And I tried to find folks from Newman from my high school. Y'all, Sister Claire is still alive. And she's in Miami. And she knew who I was. I was never her student. I took Spanish. I didn't take French. And I was scared to death of her. Little lady. But she wore these coffee-like knee-highs with this white and her white sandals. And you would know her. And I kid you not, that's what she had on many years later. I'm telling you. So memories and just the thoughts and just you don't know. And I believe Barnes and Noble actually took a pattern after the traditional library. You know, if you go in Barnes and Noble, you got several floors, you got the magazines. Now they added the Danish, the little coffee shop thing. But I mean, you can sit there, and what do people do at Barnes and Noble? They sit there and they'll read the book. They'll read a magazine. So I think they took that lead from you all. They just added the food piece of it, Jen, thank you. God bless you for coming on tonight. Now, we have listeners from Louisiana, Texas. We've got them all over the place. And I know for a fact, I'm going to replay this on my social media, but I know the libraries in those different states and cities are going to get an unusual visit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I know I was mainly talking about our system here in Orange County, Florida, but go visit your public library. I guarantee you will learn something and probably be surprised by something that it has. So please go do that, especially next week for National Library Week. It's a good time to go back.
And I actually go to your Hiawassee location for voting. That's my new place of voting. So I go there for voting, and I go right in, and it's ADA specific and required. It's all laid out. It's very, they've got signs everywhere and everything. Is there anything as we get ready to end? Thank you. You did it. I know you said at first. I really don't know what I could really. You brought it. You brought the statistics. You brought the nature. You gave us an idea of what we will walk into now, how it looks, the traditional way of things, and now the non-traditional, which is becoming the traditional way. I love new norms. I love it. You fitting in with where we're at right now. You're meeting all of us where we're at. So I could tell people, go to the library. I could tell my clients, go to the library.
Please
get a library card. That's going to be part of your homework.
Yes.
Get a library card, But if you can leave us with one thing, whatever's on your heart, what would you like to tell folks out there other than, definitely go visit next week, because this is going to, wherever you are, go visit your library. Definitely. Let them know you're there. But what one thing, and I want to tell you, my 3 books are in the Library of Congress.
Oh.
Went with the twins to DC on the Washington, DC trip. The Library of Congress, the whole building was closed, so we were able to walk through. And I looked and I said, my book, at that time it was only 1 book. My book is in there with those books. So it just goes back. But please share. I'm going to be quiet.
Sure. And just in a nutshell, we have something for you. We want to serve you. We have something for you. Whatever it is, we can meet you where you're at in your life. And maybe you don't want a book, but we will have something for you that you're interested in. If you want to meet with other people to talk about your favorite podcast, if you want to learn how to crochet, if you just want air conditioning and a place that's quiet for a little bit, we can be that for you. So just go to your local library and then show your library some love, support your local library as well. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you for agreeing to come on. And I'm going to circle back probably after next week to get with you and Brett on getting the books donated, because the village, I just got word last week from my contact person, who's one of my spiritual sons. He's heading that way. Normally he goes in August, but he's going in October because of the heat and everything. But he already got word back when he went back last summer to say, these are books. Every child's going to get a brand new book. That's something from my heart. I want every child to get a brand new book in the school. And then we will contribute. We will help with y'all building a library. Well, a contractor just happened to be referred to him about a week and a half ago. He said, what do you need me to build? Let me go to Africa with you. Let me go to Ghana with you. And what do you need? And Quan immediately said, we need a library built. He said, okay. And he said, but I will be told how to run it. So you have to wait. So I will get a chance to teach them, how to run it, how to put it together, how to check out books. That's going to be that next round. And then the parents had a community meeting and said, we want a library. I said, so let them know. I said, you have to let them know the kids come first. That's a bigger task. But I may be able to move some of y'all adult books and, in the years to come on that. But definitely I'll circle back with you and Brett in about, 2 weeks. Give y'all time to take a breath.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Anything else, guys, y'all want to add before we let her go?
Well, I just wanted to share with you that this was a library in El Salvador, and libraries are not what they used to be. So this was 6 stories. So, and that's in El Salvador. So it was a pretty amazing experience for me. So libraries are not what they used to be, folks. Take advantage of it and get the information where you'll be able to learn more than what the media is teaching out there.
Trey, I know you want to say one thing.
I agree with all of that. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's what we do here, Setting It Straight. We correct the misinformation. We set the record straight, and we hope to inform and educate. But anyway, that's our time. We're going to see you all next week, same time, same station. Night, night.